All right, welcome back to Hemi Brothers Creamery. So it's been a little while since I've done an update on this calf barn, but we are pretty much ready to move calves into it now, and been an awfully big project. And once the kids went back to school, I kind of lost track of keeping up with capturing the progress on this, but here is kind of the finished product. So for those of you who may have not seen the previous videos, this used to be our old milking parlor. This is an old holding pen. We still feed dry cows here. Stock tank there. But yeah, the old parlor, we filled the pit in, capped it off with concrete, poured this curb here so that we could have a flush alley to help try to keep things clean. Being as we had to flush for the dry cows anyways, it's uphill, it just worked out well that way. An awful lot of work. So it's bedded now, a lot of gating. So this gate obviously, it pins into that post. Built all these gates. The guy from the University of Missouri said I'd have adequate airflow in here, but he wanted me to put a 4 foot, have 4 foot all the way around the bedding part to keep the draft off the calves. So that is what the plywood is about. Already got sawdust in here. Here's the 2 feeding stations. So kind of how this works. The calf will wear this miniature collar that has got a button here that has a frequency, so that when it walks into this feeder, it's got an antenna right there that'll scan the button, identify the calf, and it will know whether this calf is entitled to get milk or not. If it is, it'll mix up its own batch and the calf can get its milk. So pretty slick setup. Turns the labor more into management rather than just packing a lot of milk. Obviously we've got a pin 1, probably shouldn't have done that, and 2, just welded these bars between the stalls with the spring-loaded latch there. So yeah, it been an awful lot of work. The amount of steel we pulled out of this room was just insane from the old parlor, and all the electrical stuff. I mean, this was packed full of all kinds of stuff, and it was a bigger project than I had anticipated, but we should be able to have 15 calves in each pen. And man, am I glad to see this done. So we actually started calving now. So plan on moving some calves in here today. And whether I get the feeder figured out how to program and set it up or not, I don't know. But we're gonna give it the old college try. So that's what's in here. There was an awful lot of work also in this milk house. So the state inspector did not want the feeder in the milk room where the milk tank is, so I had to build that room to house the feeder. And then this tank was right in the way. This holds glycol for the chiller for the creamery. So we actually had to pump it out and move it forward and then closer to the wall. And that wound up taking about a day and a half. Somewhere you can see where it was sitting. Now, let me get the room here. Yeah, that's where the leg to that old tank was. So it's stuck back in here, and there just wasn't enough room. So we had to move that, but here's the feeder. This is a Förster-Technik automatic calf feeder. And Förster-Technik, this brand is actually a Gia. Yeah, they make this feeder for Lely, De Laval, Gia, and I think there's another company they make it for. And they also just sell it as a Förster-Technik feeder. But it's a German-made milk feeder. It's got a fly screen right here. This is to calibrate. Pull that out. Anyhow, you fill this hopper full of milk replacer. When the calf is entitled to get milk, it will put some hot water in here. It's got its own boiler, and then it'll dispense the milk replacer, and it's got little impellers down there to mix it, and it's all according to the feeding plan you have for your calves that you program into this machine. But yeah, once the calf gets scanned, it's entitled to get milk. It mixes up the milk and pumps it to the station, one of two stations. And you know, I'm just not real familiar with it yet, so I'll have to do an updated one. But they said these tip down because during the wash process it'll shoot water through the hose, and then that's why that drain is in there. Got one drain there, and then I think this was an aftermarket drain. This was all used equipment, so we got a stainless steel bowl there, and it's all plumbed into the drain. So anyways, this project's been an awful lot of work, and but the idea was to save us some time and build some flexibility into our schedules. Probably we're going to see how it works out. I'm sure long term we'll be happy with it, but might be a bit of a nuisance at first, learning how to do it. So anyways, this will be it for this one, guys. We'll talk to you later. Bye.